I'm going to tell you what I discovered this week. I went into CoStar. I got a buyer. I go into multi-tenant industrial properties on the market. But then instead of doing the active properties, I toggled that off and I did the under contract properties. And I went through every single property. Hey, how's it going? You know, the dance. One of them, which was perfect for my buyer's buy box, gets back to me. It's not going well. Call me. And I sent out that PSA for signature yesterday. I've gone to a million coffees with brokers who sit down and they're like, does the social media work? And I'm like, yes, it works. And then they're like, what's the best place to do it? Like, what is A plus B equals C? And it's like, that's when the conversation gets funny, because it's like, there's no answer to that question. Like, this is a lot of work. It's hard work. There's strategy, and there isn't a one-size-fits-all solution. So it's not, in my opinion, the Rolodex or the digital presence. It's both.
I think it goes back to, something that, these OGs of social media said from day one, right? I tend to think of someone like Natalie Wainwright. She's out of Las Vegas. Don't know if you know Natalie or not. Yeah. And Natalie was very big, and to this day is still big on two things, which is authenticity and consistency. And I think that, you could go have 1,000 coffees with brokers, and in my mind, that's the only answer you need. You need to be authentic.
Yeah. Have
the courage to go out and say what you want to say. And you have to be consistent. You can't be like, oh, 1 month I posted. And I have that same, I'll take ownership of the fact that I am that person. I'm inconsistent. But, I own that. I try to do my best.
I find a substantial parallel between that and our business in and of itself, right? The commercial real estate business is a long game. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme, although some people think it's a get-rich-quick scheme. But those people get sad fast. Where consistency, persistence, and authenticity, like you said, reigns supreme, where this is not a realistic lifestyle if you don't actually genuinely enjoy what you're doing.
Right.
In addition to that, it's not a realistic lifestyle if you're not willing to wake up, get kicked in the teeth for breakfast, then smile, then go about your day and, rinse and repeat for years and years and years.
Let me jump on
Yes.
Or piggyback on something you said real quick. I think that it's important for brokers, all brokers. So no matter where you're listening to this to, all brokers, pay attention. It's important for you to understand the power of relationships. The relationships that you create today are going to be the same relationships that you need 5, 6, 7, 10, 15 years from now. And if you play the long game and you maintain those relationships, life becomes much easier, and you don't have to have 1,000+ relationships. You have to focus on relationships that matter. And yeah, it's a little bit of, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. But, in terms of the long game, I've been at this since 2007. I went commercial only in 2008. And last year, I had my first, I'm full disclosure kind of guy. I had my first 6-figure rip. And that was a long time between 2008 and 2024. And, that's because I was just consistent, stayed in the long game.
Wow. Good for you. That's amazing. Here's a fun one. I got a call in 2018 from a gentleman who wanted to open a granite countertop store. He's had a few other locations, Didn't end up signing the lease until 2023. Okay, 5 years. It was the biggest commission at the time for me. Tonight, they've already opened, but they're having the grand opening party. I've never met my client face to face. I've been in touch with him. I've been in Zooms with him. Never shook his hand. And today, we're going to go to the grand opening party from the call I got from 2018. And I'm like, this is crazy. You talk about relationships, and it's like, and that's the cool thing about our business. I find that I become friends with a lot of these people, and it's easy to provide somebody a value when you like what you do, you're friendly with them, you know your market, and it all becomes very natural. And so another head nod to relationships, because you're right. If you don't have relationships in this business, I don't know what you have. You better have a goddamn prayer. Just kidding.
You better have a trust fund set up.
Do you have any good deal stories where a deal only came about because of social media or anything of the sort?
Not really. I think it's very important to utilize it. We are making a shift in terms of generations saying, "Oh, it's useless and not necessary. My Rolodex will find my buyer or my seller," and instead, I think that it's just part of that digital atmosphere where you have to make presence, was the word I was looking for. Part of your digital presence where being known on social media is important. And, I'm not extremely active. I don't have a platform of choice. I kind of lean more towards Twitter or X than anything, but I dabble in a lot of different platforms. And I see the value of just maintaining digital presence, but I haven't had a deal. I haven't pulled a Coy Davidson and said, "Oh, I got this huge medical office deal because of X."
One day. Keep tweeting, and we'll be like Coy.
But no, it's really important. I think for everyone has their own personal brand, right? And that digital presence is important. And we're supposed to be. I think a couple of weeks ago, you had someone on that was talking about the power of that presence, but also being an expert in your field, having that authority. And I think that I share my authority best through social media.
What are you seeing today?
Yeah. So where am I seeing in North Carolina today? Funny enough, your favorite subject, industrial buildings, continues to be the darling. But we are very focused on the reality that it has to get worse. I said this to Ken Ashley last night on Twitter, on X. I still call it Twitter. Is that all right? Can I call it?
I still call it Twitter. Sorry, Arnie.
I was saying, look, man, it's got to get worse before it gets better. We are in a cycle of real estate. It has to find a bottom. In order for the bottom to occur, then we can rise back up. So I think industrial assets continue to be the darling. But more importantly, brokers have to work hard to get a deal done. There are going to be more or less and less transactions this year than there were last year. We are no longer in this world of 2022, 2023, where you put a sign in the yard and you get 20 phone calls. It's just, we're in a different state of reality. The other big thing, and I've been talking to a lot of people about this, is we're seeing a huge separation on the bid-ask gap. So the gap between where you list a property, thinking, okay, I got good data, I got good comps. Seller agrees to list it at X price. And next thing you know, all these buyers come along and they're like, that's not going to work for me. I got a very different opinion of your price, Mr. James. And and we're not talking about a few tens of thousands of dollars, right? We're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars that are now being created in the bid-ask gap. And so you're like thinking to yourself, am I still a smart broker? Am I doing my job right? How did this happen? And the reality is that buyers are going to start coming back into control of the market because they are ready. In North Carolina, we call them ready, willing, and able buyers, right? And they have the means to complete a transaction. There are very few, there's a scarcity of product everywhere. Don't get me wrong, but there are very few buyers that are coming to the table. And I think that the buyers that are coming to the table want more than just a good deal. They want a great deal.
Don't we all? But yes, no, it's fascinating. I'm so excited for 2025 to pass because I'm so sick of 2023 numbers in our comps. Like, I just need our comps to dismiss because our comps from 2022 and 2023, it doesn't say anywhere in the comp detail report that interest rates were 2.6. So now that interest rates are where they are, 7, I haven't talked to Jerome Powell for a couple weeks, so I don't know what they are today. But pricing, we're in a different stratosphere of pricing. And I am just, I empathize for the sellers who bought at the peak, got their appraisal at the peak, and went to sell a year later. Everybody thinks real estate goes up in value, and it always does over long periods of time.
Well, sellers have to understand that they no longer have the Taj Mahal. They cannot be unreasonable. And so, one of the ways that we try to close the bid-ask gap is, we try to just get people to move, even if it's just a little bit. I don't care if it's $1, just move. Show a sign of good faith. Yeah. Please, just $1 or more. But let's start moving towards a place where buyer and seller can agree on price. And as I was telling some guys this morning, price is only one aspect of a deal, right? There's timing, there's cash versus loan. Everyone gets, our world of brokerage gets so fixated on price. Got to have the best price, or, if you're the seller, get the highest price. If you're the buyer, get the lowest price. But, they're like fixated on price. And I'm like, there's so much more to a deal than just price.
Before I ask you your commercial real estate secret, I'm going to tell you one I discovered this week. You use CoStar?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, you can't assume somebody uses CoStar. I went into CoStar. I got a buyer. I go into, it was industrial. Okay. Multi-tenant industrial properties on the market. But then instead of doing the active properties, I toggled that off and I did the under contract properties. And I went through every single property. Hey, how's it going? The dance. One of them, which was perfect for my buyer's buy box, gets back to me. It's not going well. Call me. And I sent out that PSA for signature yesterday. So brokers, go into your under contract CoStar listings and start making friends, because I made a friend.
Hey, nothing is guaranteed until a deed is, I don't know how you guys do it out in Colorado, but nothing is a done deal until the deed is recorded and you have a check in hand. So,
and I agree with that wholeheartedly. But I love figuring out what, the hacks and the tricks and where I can find value for our clients. And with that, James Milner, what is your commercial real estate secret to share to the audience today?
My commercial real estate secret is public records. So I am a big proponent of data. It makes me very happy. And with information comes power. And so I want listeners to try and, sort. I come from a paralegal background. I don't know if you knew that or not. And public records are a great source of information. You can both transactions, but depending on what municipality you're a part of, your local government can also contain a wide array of information as to who's looking, who's coming to town, what development is happening, where, when. So my little secret is the power of public records.
We could do a whole podcast on that.
Oh, we could, for sure.
Okay, part 2 coming soon.